Om Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Shri Dakshinamurti Sudeshi Kendram Dvaipayanam Sutrakritam Munindram Shri Shankaram Bhashyakritam Yatindram Maddeshi Kanchapi Namami Vidyai Om Namo Brahma Dibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान गणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. Pranams everyone. We are in Sloka 58, chapter 2. श्री भगवानुवाच यदा संहरते छायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. So Bhagavan started answering question of Arjuna as to what would be a Sthitha Prajna Lakshana. And Bhagavan had given the Lakshana from 55 to 57. He had given 5 Lakshanas. What are those 5 Lakshanas? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan. One who is actually able to give up all the desires. And then Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha. We talked about one who is satisfied within himself. Then dukkeshu anudvigna manaha sukheshu vikata sprihaha. One who is free from craving amidst pleasures and one whose mind is not perturbed when there are troubles. And when vitaraga bhayakrodha, one who is free from attachment, fear and anger. And then the last one was in Sloka 57. Sarvatra anabhishneha, one who is totally unattached. So neither does he rejoice nor does he hate on various favorable and unfavorable situations, various dharmic and adharmic situations around him. So those are the lakshanas that Bhagavan had given of Sthitha Prajna. Now Bhagavan is changing the topic here in 58. He is giving Sthitha Prajna Upaya. How to become a Sthitha Prajna. So for that we saw to become Sthitha Prajna, the knowledge has to be converted to deeply into the mind. It has to become a swabhava of the Jnani. So for this Jnana to get deeply immersed into the mind and into the personality of Jnani, the mind has to help him in doing that. Because for that to happen, Nidhidyasana is the sadhana, and Nidhidyasana is a sadhana where we are doing meditating upon the values of Atma and making sure that they get into our mind deeply. And therefore the mind has to be cooperative. And for that Bhagavan has suggested, he is prescribing 2 sadhanas in this portion. The first sadhana is Damaha. Damaha means sensory control. Bhagavan had talked about sensory control earlier, even when he was giving the Jnani Lakshana. There also he talked about Damaha, Shamaha. Now he is going to talk, again he will talk in 3rd chapter. There will be a lot of places where these kind of concepts keep repeating. So Bhagavan is now talking about Damaha here. He says the mind can get, and for us we did a vichara. How can the mind get disturbed? The mind can get disturbed in 2 manners, 2 ways. The first is actually through the sense organs. So whatever we absorb from the surroundings, the sense organs carry them into our mind. And therefore, the sense organs are a gateway to all these disturbances. And therefore, we will have to make sure that the sense organs are disciplined. And the sense organs are disciplined. The discipline of sense organs is called Damaha. The second discipline that Bhagavan will prescribe is Shamaha. Shamaha is mind control. Say, even if the sense organs are disciplined, for example, when a person goes for a meditation, sits for meditation, he has closed all the sense organs. He has made sure that no external disturbances are there to create problems. So he wakes up early in the morning, he does the meditation when nobody is awake, everything is quiet. But even then, once a person sits for dhyana, the mind has a faculty called Smriti. Smriti is nothing but memory. So whatever we had accumulated as our experience, whatever has gone into our memory, they will start now working. So although the mind is protected from the indriyas, as in through the sensory discipline, we have ensured that the mind does not get affected. The mind can get still disturbed. The mind can still crack through self-generated thoughts. The thoughts that arise from our, what Shastras say, Purva Samskaras. We would have done something, whatever we had done in the past, those thoughts could come in. So, although this person in meditation may be sitting calm with eyes closed and all those things, externally he looks as if he is not affected at all. But then the mind could be running very fast. Because the mind generates thoughts and those thoughts disturb the calmness of the mind. So the sadhana to control the calmness of the mind, or to ensure the calmness of the mind, that sadhana is called as Shamaha. So there are two ways which we have to protect our mind. One, no new fresh thoughts. How does no new fresh thoughts can be achieved? By making sure that the indriyas don't come into contact with unwanted sense objects. Whenever the sense organs look at something, hear something, feel something, taste something, then what happens? The mind gets disturbed. Something which is unwanted. In the same way, what is unwanted? Anything that can disturb the mind is unwanted. What is disturbance? Anything that can excite the mind or depress the mind. Both are disturbances. Both are unwanted. That is one way. So no new fresh thoughts. The second is, even if the mind is not affected by the sense organs, the mind can generate unwanted thoughts that arise out of our previous impressions. Previous impressions that are available in our memory. And the mind will be such that it will start giving reality for things that had happened 15 years ago. 15 years ago, this person did this to me. They actually humiliated me in front of it. They spoke these words against me. In front of all these people, she did like this, that he did like that. All those things will come in. So actually, to lose our peace of mind, we don't need anyone. Our sense organs and our mind are good enough to make sure that we lose our peace of mind. But peace of mind or calmness of mind is a very important prerequisite for Nidhidhyasana. And therefore, Damaha and Shamaha are very important. And only through Damaha and Shamaha, the calmness of the mind can be restored. And only if the mind is calm, Nidhidhyasana can be performed. And only if Nidhidhyasana is performed, Jnana can be converted to Jnana Nishtha. So here, Sloka 58, Bhagavan is talking about Damaha, sensory discipline. 58 to 61, he is talking about Damaha. After that, he will talk about Shamaha. So in this Sloka 58, Bhagavan gives a beautiful example. He compares a Jnani to a tortoise. And what does a tortoise do? A tortoise has a hard shell. It's got a hard shell that covers its body, and it has got 4 small legs and 1 small head. And generally what happens, whenever a tortoise faces danger, what it will do is, it will immediately retract all its 4 legs and the head into the hard shell. And that shell protects the tortoise from unwanted danger. It could be a porcupine, it could be a stone, it could be a thorn, whatever it is. All it gets protected from the dangers. So just like a tortoise withdraws its limbs when it encounters the slightest danger, and it keeps it inside. For how long does it keep it inside? It keeps inside until the threat is gone. The moment the threat is gone, then again it puts out its limbs and the head, and it starts the journey. Similarly, a Prajna, a Jnani, he will transact in the world freely. But the moment he sees there is an occasion where the unwanted raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya may arise, it may come out, it may be provoked, then what happens? Immediately the Jnani withdraws the sense organs from the objects. So that is how Bhagavan is giving as that is what Bhagavan is giving as an example here. So there are 3 parts to the example. 1, Jnani is compared to a tortoise. The sense organs of a Jnani are compared to the 4 legs and the head, the total 5 of them. And then the sensory objects that can lead to delusion, that can create or provoke the mind, that can disturb the mind, are compared to the dangers that the tortoise can face. So this is the analogy here. What we have to note is that, will the tortoise keep its limbs inside at all times? The answer is no. It will use its limbs, it will use its head, it will keep moving. When does it withdraw? Only when it sees danger. So here too Bhagavan is saying that the Jnani is not going to stop using the sense organs. It is not that the Jnani will not see anything, he will not talk to anybody, he will not hear anybody. It's not that. No. But what happens is, when he sees that things that will affect the calmness of his mind, only those things that will affect his calmness, that will impact his peace of mind, he will at that point of time only withdraw. He will withdraw his sense organs. Now we will go into the Sloka. Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashaha. Cha ayam. Cha ayam. Cha means moreover. Moreover. Yada ayam. Yada ayam. Ayam refers to he. He means a Jnani. A Jnani who is striving to become a Jnananishta. Yada ayam. When he. Yada means when. When he. Samharate. Samharate means withdraws. Moreover, when he withdraws, from what does he withdraw? That is in the second line. And Bhagavan also says like who he withdraws. Kurmonganiva sarvashaha. Iva kurmaha. Iva kurmaha. Iva kurmaha means just as a tortoise. just as a tortoise. So, moreover, when he withdraws just as a tortoise, what does he withdraw? Kurmong va angani. Kurmaha angani iva. So, just as a tortoise withdraws angani. Angani means limbs. Angam. We say in Tamil also. Angam means limbs. And how much he withdraws? Does he withdraw partially? Bhagavan says, Sarvashaha. Sarvashaha. Completely. From all directions. He withdraws that completely. So, moreover, when a Jnani withdraws, just as a tortoise withdraws its limbs completely means everything, there is no like partial, I can just hear some but I will not listen fully, not like that, fully, completely. And what does the Jnani withdraw? And from what does he withdraw? That's given in the second line. Indriyani indriyartebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. What does he withdraw? Indriyani, the sense organs. He withdraws the sense organs. How much we already saw? Sarvasha, completely. And from what does he withdraw the sense organs? Indriyartebhyah. Indriyartebhyah means from the sense objects. So he withdraws the sense organs from the sense objects. And when he withdraws the sense organs from the sense objects, what does he do? What happens? Just like a tortoise withdraws its limbs, what does happen? Tasya prajna pratishtita. His knowledge becomes firm. His knowledge becomes firm. The Nidhidhyasana will have its effect. The Nidhidhyasana has to be done for the knowledge to be firm. But for the knowledge, for Nidhidhyasana to happen, Damaha sensory discipline is a must. Without sense control, Nidhidhyasana is not possible. Why? Because this is Nidhidyasana is a manasa vyaparam. The mind needs to be calm. The mind can lose its calmness when sense organs disturb. Sense objects disturb the sense mind through the sense organs. So a Jnani knows that relationship, knows that sambandha. He knows how the sense objects can create problems for his knowledge to become firm. And therefore, he withdraws whenever there is a danger of the mind's calmness being affected. So this is the essence or the meaning of this sloka. Bhagavan talks about Damaha. And he will continue to talk about Damaha until 61. Then he will talk about mind control. So we will continue sloka number 59. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drashtva nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drashtva nivartate. So, Sthitha Prajna Lakshana, Bhagavan is giving sadhanas for a Sthitha Prajna Lakshana. Here continuing that. And what are the sadhanas? A Jnani's character, as I said, the sadhanas are needed for a spiritual seeker to become a Jnani. And once a Jnani has got certain lakshanas, once a Jnani exhibits certain lakshanas, those lakshanas also become a sadhana for a spiritual seeker. So if we say a Jnani is free from anger, a Jnani does not get angry, then not becoming angry or not getting anger becomes a sadhana for us. And therefore if we say a Jnani has sensory discipline, has got control on his sense objects, on his sense organs. Then to control and discipline our sense organs becomes a sadhana for us. So now, if you notice in the last sloka, Bhagavan said, sensory discipline is a must for a seeker or for a Jnani to become a Jnana Nishta. So the Damaha is a sadhana that is required for a person to become a Jnana Nishta. Now the question is, once he attains this Jnana Nishta, will he let go of this Damaha? Can he let go of Damaha? Is the sensory discipline still required? Can he let go of it? Now, before we answer that, we should know that we can divide all sadhanas into two. All sadhanas into two. One set of sadhanas that we will have to follow them until we reach the goal, sadhyam. Until we reach the goal, we will have to follow that sadhana. But once we reach that goal, we let go of that sadhana. We will not be following it afterwards. What happens if in case we try to follow that sadhana even after we reach the goal, it might prove counterproductive. We will be going away from the goal afterwards. So the sadhana is important, but only until we attain the sadhyam. After that, we will have to let go of it. It's like, suppose we need to go to a particular place, and we know that we have to take a bus from here or a train from here. And only if we take that bus or only if we take that train, we can reach there. And once after we reach there, we'll have to get down from the bus or the train. We cannot say that I will not let go of the bus. This has helped me to come until here. I will continue in the same bus or I'll continue in the same train. Then what happens? We will go away from the destination. So even if we had taken that sadhana, or once we reach that destination or goal, we will have to let go of it. This is one type of sadhana. The second type of sadhana, those are to be followed until we attain sadhyam and also after attaining sadhyam. After attaining sadhyam, it is no more a sadhana, it becomes our swarupa. It becomes the person's personality, it becomes the person's character. What is sadhana? Sadhana is something that we strive for. We put an effort to attain it. But once we have attained it, the sadhana becomes a personality, it becomes the person's nature. As I said, for example, if we say eating from our hand or walking is a sadhana for a child. For a child, it has to be taught as to how to walk, how to eat with their hand, all those things. But then what happens as the child grows up, it becomes their nature. It becomes our swabhava. It is no more a sadhana. These sadhanas are considered to be sadhanas only until the time we put an effort. Once it comes naturally, it becomes our lakshana. In the same manner, Damaha is a sadhana for a person who wants to become a Sthitha Prajna. Sensory discipline is a sadhana for one who wants to become a Sthitha Prajna. But once he becomes a Sthitha Prajna, this sense control, this indriya nigraha is no more a sadhana, it is his nature, it is the person's nature, it is the lakshana of a person. So initially, when we had to do it, it was so difficult, we had to put an effort. Now, it is natural, spontaneous. It's a personality, it's a habit. So it becomes a swarupa of the person. So in this sloka, Bhagavan says, he says, how Damaha, which is exhibited by a Jnani, or by Damaha exhibited by a Jnana Nishta, how is it different? or how the sensory discipline be followed by a person who is yet to attain Jnana Nishta. So what is the difference in the Damaha of a Jnani and a Jnana Nishta? A person who wants to be a Jnani and a person who is trying to attain Jnana Nishta. Both are sensory disciplines only. Both are Indriya Nigraham only. What is the difference? We'll go to the sloka and then we do the vichara. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. Dehinaha. Dehinaha means for a person, for a jivatma. Generally, a person we talk about, dehinaha. How is he? Niraharasya. Niraharasya dehinaha. Niraharam. We know aharam means food. Niraharam means without food. Who is without food? Remember, here when we say aharam, food, we are not talking about the food for the stomach. We are talking about the food for the mind, and that comes through the 5 sense organs. And when Bhagavan says niraharasya, is one who is refusing to hear, refusing to see, refusing to feel, refusing to eat. In other words, he is following Damaha. So this person is denying food to the mind through the 5 indriyas, 5 sense organs. Niraharasya dehinaha. One who is not giving any food for the mind through the sense organs, or one who is not enjoying any sense objects. In other words, one who is not watching WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Those are all nirahara. What happens to him? Vishaya vinivartante. Vishayaha. Vishayaha means sense objects. Whatever he does not want to see, does not want to hear, all those vishayas, does not want to eat, those sense objects, vishayaha, vinivartante. Vinivartante means drop off, go away. There is no experience for him. He is not feeding the mind through the sense organs. He is doing some kind of vrata, disciplining the mind, disciplining the sense organs. So there is no direct experience of sense objects. And then because of it, the sense objects drop away. Vinivartante. It gets dropped off. It goes away. Now, this vinivartante, which means drops off, Bhagavan qualifies that vinivartante. He says it does not completely drop off. He says the first word of the second line has to be taken here. Rasavarjam vinivartante. Rasavarjam vinivartante means he drops off, yes, but except the fancy for them. In other words, he drops off the sense objects, yes, but the attachment on the sense objects still remain. The rasavarjam means it still exists. Rasavarjam means except the fancy for it. So, who is this person? Dehinaha. A person striving for Jnana Nishta. A person striving for Jnana Nishta, he is not feeding the mind through the sense organs. That is okay. He is following Damaha. And therefore what happens? He drops off. He does not experience any subjects. Fine. That is also fine. But the attachment on the sense objects remain in his mind. The object has been removed, but the desire for the object remains. Simple example, when we were children or whatever, or even today when our children, when they, during the exams, if we say no games for them, yes, the game has been taken out of their mind, but the desire or attachment and it remains, the taste for it remains. Rasavarjam. It has gone away, it has been taken away. Vinivartante, but except for the fancy for it. Rasavarjam. So Bhagavan says, initially when we practice Damaha, this is how it will be. When we practice sensory object, sensory control, sensory discipline also, the experience will not be there. But the craving, the attachment, the value that we have on that object will still remain. So next question is, okay, if that is what is going to happen, what is the point? When will it go away? When will the fancy that I have on the object, the attachment that I have on the object, the value that I have on the object, when will it go away? Bhagavan says, Rasopyasya param drashtva nivartate. Rasopyasya, rasaha api asya. Rasopyasya, rasaha api asya. Api means even, or also. Rasaha, we just saw. Rasaha means that fancy, that attachment. Asya, asya means of this person. The fancy for this person also nivartate, drops off. Even the fancy for it drops off. When does the fancy drop off? Param drashtva. Param drashtva nivartate. Drashtva param. Drashtva means seeing, after seeing, in future, after seeing. Param. Param means supreme. After seeing the supreme. Which means one who has attained Jnana. Once a person attains Jnana, even the fancy for this object, even the value that this person had on this object, even the attachment that the person had on the object will drop off. A person who is striving for to become a Jnana Nishta, when he does Damaha, the sense objects do not affect him, yes, because he is disciplining his sense organs, but the fancy for it will remain. The craving for it will remain. The chance of him to go back to that is high, he will be still there. But once a person attains Jnana Nishta, once the knowledge of Atma is fully established in our intellect and mind, then even that raso apyasi, even that the fancy will drop off, nivartate. So what is the thing is, there are two types of addictions basically. One is the sensory addiction. The other is the mental addiction. So when we do Damaha, sensory addiction can be controlled, but the mental addiction is not controlled. And the mental addiction is deeper than the sensory addiction. That is why whenever we have a bad habit and we quit it, for example, somebody is smoking and he wants to quit it, he quits it, but the mental addiction lingers for some more time. The rasa varjam will be there. The fancy for it will still be there. The addiction, the value that, oh, I wish kind of thing, that feeling. So even when you quit something, a certain bad habit, maintaining that position is actually extremely difficult because the mind still has got that weakness. So when it comes to renunciation, when we are trying to say I am going to be a renunciate, I want to give up this, it is important to renounce the rasavarjam also. And that's why what happens is some people in their they kind of in a flash of thought probably decide to take up sannyasa, and then they go to or without completely thinking about the effects of it or what needs to be done, they take up, say for example, go to become sannyasa and go to Rishikesh and Uttarakashi, whatever. What happens is after some time they start envying Grihastha. If only I had stayed there, it would have been, they will look at what are the ones that they are missing because they have become a sannyasi. And they feel that they have committed a mistake because rasavarjam, they still hold a value on it. They still have attachment for it. Swamiji talks about a particular story of a person who was a very successful engineer. He was a very rich person as well. And he had renounced everything and went to Rishikesh. He became a sannyasi. So he was well established, quite rich, but then he gave up everything and he became a sannyasi, went to Rishikesh. There in Rishikesh and all, bhiksha, the food is actually served in certain kshetras. And what happens is when the food is being served, the sannyasis would have to queue up. And the bhiksha would be generally some kind of bread or chapati or dal, something like that. So this person, he went straight to the serving counter and he showed his plate. The person was asked to join the queue at the end. Apparently he had said, I am not a beggar like them. I was rich, I was earning a lot. I have left all of them and become a sannyasi. So give me. I come from a decent, well-to-do family and all those things. What does this mean? It means that he has been able to renounce physically his wealth, everything. That itself is very difficult. That is great, no doubt about it. That is not at all easy. That has to be appreciated. But he has not been able to renounce the value that he had on the money, on the richness, on his qualification, on the fact that he had come from a rich family, well-to-do family and all. So the value of it is not renounced. So when we renounce something, we are renouncing first the object, but we are not renouncing yet the desire, the craving, the attachment, the value that we have on that object. And as long as it is there, the urge will continue. But what happens as we continue to practice Damaha, then slowly even this craving will go away. The problem for the mind is, when this craving goes away, the mind is always craves for something. It is the nature of the mind. So it will actually need to be filled up with something else. This craving has to be replaced. And what happens is, the mind's vacuum or the mind's craving is slowly replaced by spiritual ananda, a superior ananda, the ananda or the happiness that we get out of our shastras. In fact, many people they think that when they see a sannyasi, they have some kind of sympathy coming from them. They know, in Tamil we say pavam. It looks, he has left everything and come. We don't know what had happened, what is the problem he had faced. He has left everything and come. And a sannyasi typically will not have any access to all those sensory pleasures like television, movie, whatnot, and all those things. He cannot go to the movies in a theater to watch. He cannot wear multiple varieties of dress. He cannot. Everybody sympathizes because he will have to. He cannot have access. He does not have access to the worldly pleasures as much as a grihastha has. But what we have to remember is the ananda that he gets through the shastras, the vidya ananda. That is much more higher. That is much more. The quality of the ananda is much better than the petty, paltry, miserable pleasures that one can get out of the world. But until that spiritual ananda is fully discovered, the yearnings will continue. But it will slowly get reduced as a person goes towards spiritual Ananda. So that is what Bhagavan is saying. Once a Jnani becomes a Jnana Nishta, even this yearning, even this rasam will be nivartate. It will be gone. A Jnani's Damaha is Swabhava. But for us, when we are practicing, it is not a Swabhava, it is still a sadhana. We have left the object, but the mind is still holding on to the object. This is not wrong. So sometimes people feel, what is the purpose of doing discipline? My mind is still craving for this. Should I even do this? Is it not? Am I becoming a hypocrite? Bhagavan, what we have to understand is it is a stage. It is a stage in life. We have to understand, okay, the mind is craving, but I will have to give up the craving for the mind. I cannot force it also. If I force myself to even, be very critical of my mind and critical of my practice, saying that my sadhanas are not working out, then what happens is I become depressed. What we have to do is give it some time. Continue practicing Damaha. The yearning is there, but slowly it will reduce. Do not try to forcefully control things. Sometimes we are saying we want to forcefully control, we want to suppress our desires. Suppression will create mental problems. So, but again, not disciplining is also a problem. Because there are some people who will say, do not suppress, enjoy whatever you got, just enjoy. Life is only one, there is only one life, enjoy. After all, there is only one life, enjoy whatever you can. Time is short. All those things, they will use flowery words. We saw that, right, earlier. Yamimam pushpitam vacham. And we may be also attracted because it is all nice. I don't need to control my mind or senses. Some people even falsely, wrongly advise that to attain moksha, one need not do any kind of sensory or mental discipline. Absolutely wrong. Without discipline, there cannot be any spiritual growth. Agree, suppression will create problems. But when we control it consciously, it is no more suppression. We have to grow out of our addiction. We have to grow out of that craving. And what is suppression? What is discipline? It's the difference between starving and fasting. If I am starving, it is suppression. If I am fasting, it is discipline. So either I do discipline myself by actually having regularly fasting, so that when there is a need for me to starve, I convert that into a fast. But if something is forced upon me, then it becomes suppression. But without discipline, Jnana Nishta cannot be attained. So in this sloka, Bhagavan says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah. So a person striving for Jnana Nishta, he is not feeding the mind through the sense organs. He is following Damaha. He does not experience sense objects, yes. But rasavarjam, except for the craving on the sense objects, the attachment that it remains. But for a Jnani, even that is gone. Rasopyasya param drashtva nivartate. Even this fancy for this drops off after knowing the Supreme. Whether a person has got the craving for that object or not, again it is not something others can decide. Only that person will know, only Ishvara will know. So if a person, if somebody says to you, you are actually only falsely claiming, you still have that craving for that object, we need not answer. Only we know, only Ishvara knows. And similarly, it is not for us to judge the other person also. He is saying he doesn't want, but he still likes it. It is not our duty to judge anyone. Only that person will know. So this is the Sloka 59. Now we'll go to Sloka 60. Bhagavan continues here. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manah. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manah. So Bhagavan, he talks about the consequences of not having sensory discipline. What will happen if a person does not have sensory, if a person does not follow Damaha? Indriya anavasthane dosha. Here, while doing that, he is explaining the swabhava of our indriyas. What is the nature of our sense organs? And the result of not keeping sensory discipline. Let's go into the sloka. Yatato hyapi kaunteya, Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah. Kaunteya. O Arjuna, yatataha. Yatataha means one who is striving. One who is striving. Who is that striving? Purushasya. Yatato hi kaunteya purushasya. Purushasya means a man, a normal person. What sort of a person he is? Vipaschitah. Vipaschitah means Vipaschitah Purushasya. Vipaschitah means wise man, wise person. So even for a wise person, Bhagavan says, Yatato hyapi kaunteya Purushasya Vipaschitah. Indeed, even for a wise striving person, what happens to him? Indriyani pramatini haranti prasavam manaha. Indriyani means sense organs. How are these sense organs? Bhagavan is giving an adjective for the sense organs. Indriyani pramatini. Pramatini means powerful. Bhagavan says these sense organs are very powerful. Even for a striving wise man, the powerful sense organs, what happens? Haranti. Haranti means carry away. It gets carried away. The sense organs gets carried away. What does it carry away? Manaha. The mind. It carries away the mind. How does it carry away? Bhagavan says, prasabam. Prasabam means forcibly. The sense organs carry the mind forcibly. Pramatini indriyam prasabam manaha. That is what it means. The powerful sense organs forcibly carry the mind. Bhagavan is giving adjective and adverb. The adjective for sense organs, pramatini, powerful sense organs. And how is the mind carried away? Forcibly. Pramatini. Prasabam. Forcibly. Whose mind did they carry? Purushasya vipaschitah. A wise person. Even for a wise person, the powerful sense organs carry the mind forcibly. And who is this vipaschitah Purushasya? Is not an ordinary person, is not just a general person on the road. Yatataha. He is the one who is striving for sensory discipline, striving for this jnana. He is a sadhaka, spiritual sadhaka. Even for him, the powerful indriyas forcibly carry away the mind. So, in Kathopanishad, the life is compared to a journey. The life of a jiva is compared to a journey, and the body itself is compared to a chariot. The physical body is compared to a chariot. The 5 horses of the chariot is compared to the 5 sense organs, pancha indriyas. So the body is the chariot, the indriyas are the sense organs, are the horses. And just like the horses carry the chariot, the sense organs carry our body and mind also. What does this mean? It means every sense organ has its own likes and dislikes as a swabhava. Every sense organ has a like or dislike for something. My eyes only like certain things. I like only certain colors. I don't like certain colors. I like this taste. I don't like that taste. Every sense organs have a raga dvesha. Chapter 3, Bhagavan will do again, repeat this, and then we will do a detailed vichara. But what we should understand is every sense organ has its own likes and dislikes. The indriyas, the sense organs, have their preferences, and they are so powerful that they can even drag the mind along with them. The sense organs are extremely powerful. They are like the churning rod. Pramati is actually, what is it? The churning rod that we use for churning a ground. Mati. Pramati, we say. So this sense organ is a powerful churning rod. Each sense organ is a powerful churning rod. And how many churning rods? 5 churning rods. What they do? They churn the mind. They churn the mind means where does it carry away? When it says carry away, it's not physical. The mind gets violent disturbance. The mind is disturbed by the sense organs. And most of the time the mind gets disturbed by words. I keep repeating it. Words are the most disturbing factor. What he said, what he didn't say, how he said, why he said, when he said, in front of whom he said, all this, only the words create the disturbance. The eyes and ears are also powerful. Everything is powerful, but the words can disturb our mind more. And what happens? Prasabam haranti. It will forcibly take us away from where? From Vedanta, from our spiritual sadhana. One word can disturb us violently. It can make us forget everything, whatever we had learnt. He provoked me. That words provoked me. And every sense organ is powerful. So we might not want to see something, but we will still see. We might not want to hear something because I know it will hurt, it will affect my mind, but we will hear. I know that this person is going to say something bad about me, but yet I want to hear what that person says. I have decided not to speak against or say something, but yet I will speak. The mind says do not, but yet the sense organs do it. It is like this in an organization, in a place. Do not see the words below. They put something very big, and then they had written something small at the bottom. Everybody, after seeing the words, do not see the words below, will go and read what has been said in there. That's how the mind works. That's how our sense organs work. This is the swabhava of indriyas. It is not that my indriyas alone are the problem. It's not. Everybody's indriyas are the same thing. They are all very powerful. And Bhagavan says, it is not just for you, it's not just for everybody, it is even for a vipaschita purushasya. A learned person. It's not an ignorant person, it's a wise man. A person who knows what is dharma, what is adharma, what is to be done, what is not to be done, whether this should be eaten or drunk, whether that should be seen or not seen, whether that should be heard or not, even for him. The doctor says, do not eat fried food, but it's a rainy day. Vada or samosa or pakodas cannot be resisted. Excuses can still be made. That's why prasabam haranti. The person could have studied Gita, he could have studied scriptures, but even an informed person in a moment of weakness can be distracted. That information, that knowledge, whatever we had built across so many months and years of sadhana, could still be not useful because the sensory organs are more powerful than that knowledge. So apart from the knowledge, apart from the shastric knowledge that we had gained, what is important? Effort is important. Sadhana is important. Striving is required. Bhagavan says, yatataha api, even for a person who is striving, sense organs forcibly take the mind. Bhagavan, our Shastra says, the Indriyas are made outward looking. All the Indriyas are outward facing. The eyes do not see what is inside my body, what is inside my mind. The ears do not listen inside, they hear from things outside. So all the Indriyas are outward looking, outward facing. So one Upanishad says, because of it, we die even before we are born. Because of the Indriyas. Because it does not help us. Vipashchitaha api, yatataha api, even the Indriyas, whatever we do, the Indriyas will keep winning. So what are we to do? We have to keep practicing until we attain control. So Bhagavan is giving a warning here. He wants to know who our real enemies are. Our real enemies are not in this world, outside us. They are not our colleagues, they are not our neighbors, boss and whatever. They are our own sense organs. And it is important for us to know our enemy. So there are few takeaways here. First takeaway, maybe all those takeaways we will see in the next class. Any questions or comments? Okay, we will see continue in the... Sorry, Venu? Venu, your mic is not very clear.
Is not the mind the only indriya that you can control? Like, I mean, is there anything other than mind which you can control? Like,
no, we are talking now about the sense organs, controlling the sense organs. We are not even talking about the mind yet.
But when you say you control the sense organ, effectively it is only through mind you can even think about controlling sense organs, right? I mean, is there any control of sense organ other than controlling a mind?
No, first of all, I can close my eyes is controlling the sense organs without controlling the mind. I can close my sense organs. We are actually here, we are subtly differentiating between the mind and sense organs. We are trying to differentiate subtly what the sense organs are and what the mind is.
Okay.
So when we are saying I have decided not to, I am controlling my legs not to move from this place, I am not decided not to go to that particular place, then I am controlling my legs. But if my mind thinks about what is happening there, I am not controlled my mind.
But isn't it the mind which is essentially saying that, like, I'm not going to move, I'm not going to do this? I mean, isn't it mind the whole actor there?
Actually, when
I'm sorry, maybe I'll understand better after a couple of...
I know it will get cut off now because we are touching 1 hour. The decisions are taken by the intellect. So we'll continue on this in the next class in this discussion.
Sure. Thank you.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om.